Hi, everybody. I am super happy with how all of the work is turning out in this class so far. I just really wanted to say that I'm really enjoying everything that you're making, and I'm just very, very impressed by not only how hard you have been working, but I am definitely seeing everyone really grasping the clay material and really transforming it into into your own voice, and also just having you all are just really getting such a great handle on it, and I'm really proud of you, all of you. You're It's like definitely a really talented group of people. So keep up the good work. I know the world has been feeling really dense lately, but I'm trying to give you all like just a little bit more time in general on each of your projects. So I'm hoping that is helping, not only getting your work to this really final finished quality, but just helping you maintain your sanity. And thank you to each of you who have reached out and just asked for help and let me know that you needed help. I'm always here if you need it, and you can talk to me. So you are definitely not alone. And I also like to hear feedback too. Anyways, this is a presentation about your next project, which is going to be functional and sculptural work. So I will share the screen here. Okay, so we're going to talk a little bit about functional and sculptural ceramics. And in your small sculpture project, it seemed like a lot of you actually were already creating sculptures that were functional, but you were probably aware of that. But this is a project that is pretty specific to creating something that is functional and sculptural. So this is a list. We're going to start with just a list of things that you can make that are functional or utilitarian that you can use in your home or wherever out of ceramic. That would be a teapot, a musical instrument, a planter, a vase, a bowl, dish set, any sort of open vessel, a picture or mirror frame, bookends, a mortar and pestle, aquarium furniture, and Russian dolls are puppet parts, like the face and hands of puppets. So a lot of things are made out of ceramics, including toilets and sinks. We're going to keep it on a more minimal scale, of course, but I'm sure that this was just the beginning of my list of ideas of ceramic things that you all are functional ceramic objects that you could make into a more sculptural form. And if you have any other sort of functional ideas, you are totally welcome to do that. Just a little list to help you start. So what can make a functional work sculptural? I think that this is a good question. I think just because we're building a teapot doesn't necessarily mean the teapot has any sort of sculptural elements. So it's good to ask what makes something like a teapot or a vessel sculptural. Also, just to go back here with this list of ceramic functional utilitarian objects, you can make just a vessel on its own. Any sort of vessel that is just has an opening, something that can hold something, is also considered functional as well. So sculptures are inspired by an idea, or more commonly a message, that can push design and create dialogue for one's audience to enjoy. For this project, I encourage you to think outside of the box. These are functional ceramic works by Emily Schroeder Willis, who is a living contemporary ceramic artist. These are pinch pots. They're coiled pinched pots, and that are, I think, breaching sculpture because of the use of the dimension of the space, as far as the negative space, which is the openings between the handle, and the positive space of the handle. If this piece was just perhaps just the vessel, I would consider that just maybe to be functional and lack any sort of sculptural elements. But there is an innovation of design here with the way that the handles are working. They go beyond an ergonomic structure. They're not only serving a utilitarian purpose, but the handles added on to this vessel create a more sculptural form, a form that investigates negative space as well as texture and line. There's definitely, my eye is definitely flowing much more buoyantly than it would flow if it was just this piece. And there's also a play with scale. So there is, these handles are quite small and don't really actually, aren't something that is so common that we would see in the handles of a vessel. So I consider that to be, even that play of design with scale can be something that can be considered sculptural because it's an innovative type of design. So I know we're not doing much glaze work in our class, but using glazes to create the utmost refined detail is another way to push a functional object into a sculptural realm. So these are works by Roberto Lugo, who I believe is Puerto Rican. He's an activist, so he has a message that he likes to work with in his artwork, and he does these really highly refined functional ceramic works that he glazes to a really, really potent, finished, beautiful detail of, in this case, this is a series of teapots that are glazed to have Black icons, Black American icons that are famous or well known, on top of using just a series of different glazes. So I'm pretty sure this is China paint, as well as the wonderful gold luster, which I just, that I love by now. And hand painted very, very well. Implementing this message, like having these figures of these iconic, famous Black performers, adding this sort of motif onto something functional can take it into a more sculptural realm, as well as the use of color, I think, as well, because it's, once again, really pushes the boundaries of design into becoming more sculptural. And I do think even more so, there are sculptural elements that are happening within the handle, which is not such a basic, common commercial handle that we would see on a mug that we pull out of our cabinet on a daily basis, as well as the feet have a sculptural, innovative sculptural design to it. The foot of these teapots are kind of ridged and treated very well, and just thought about and really thought about in a way that is trying to not be just absolutely just functional, but take it out of just the functional realm a little bit. Nick Waddell is an artist. He's kind of like an Instagram famous artist right now, who just gets a bunch of residencies. Artist residencies are places all across the world, which artists can apply to be able to use the facilities in these residencies that are commonly associated with the geographical location of the residency. So a lot of the times, ceramic artists can go to these residencies. Like, for example, there's one in Morocco where you can make all these tiles, because Morocco is really famous for like their blue tile work. So there's a ceramic residency where you can go and make blue tiles and implement it into your own art practice. And Nick Waddell goes to a bunch of different residencies, I'm pretty sure, and he gets to experiment with the facilities there, and which is really great for ceramic artists to start to get to know their glazes, because glaze can become a sculptural element to functional work as well. So this is just a really big jug, and he uses lava glazes to create this otherworldly texture, this three-dimensional relief texture that takes it out of just the functional realm. So abstracting forms is another way to create a dialogue between sculpture and function. So this planter shows an investigation of form. It's a female body. It's cut into two. They have the lower part of the torso and the upper part of the torso. They both act as planters. I think it's cool that they can be stacked. I think that's a really fun, playful investigation of form. And also, as these are planters, there's probably a hole in the bottom of it. So you all could simply know how to make that. That'd be very easy. Make it with slabs, stick a hole in the bottom for the water to drain through. And also choosing a plant is an investigation of form. The plant that the artist chooses to put into their figurative planter can also create a message or a dialogue or a narrative even, which is a further concept to think about when you're making your functional sculptural projects. This is a really simple vessel by Julian Machad. I think I'm saying that the right way. It's just a pinch pot connected to another pinch pot. Really simple. It's a vessel. It has an opening, but it is kind of pushed into a kind of like fun and playful form of just a face on top of like another egg face. So this is a sculptural functional object, very simple. Oh, this is a piece that I made. This is a mortar and pestle that I created. This is actually made from a mold. My mold was really bad though, so I only was able to make one. It's made out of porcelain. It's a bunny shape, kind of like similar to a type of like Egyptian kind of sphinx on the ground position, or yeah, type of pose. And then I made a pestle here, and I was trying to create this mysterious sort of dialogue between a mortar and pestle, and then also it being shaped like a bunny, and also this dust that is a bunch of pigments that I created together. So adding this pigment into the mortar and pestle and smashing it created this dust that landed around it. And in my work, I like to inform people of not only the title, but the materials used are porcelain and moon dust. And so I'm just showing you how you can take another type of object in your house or around, or even come up with an object. You know, as an artist, you have a creative license to really push things like this. So to come up with something even beyond something that's real, like this example of moon dust, you can implement that into your functional work to create an even crazier message, or maybe more unbelievable message or otherworldly message in your art as well. The use of color can help create a message in your work. If you have two different clay bodies, consider creating a message with the material while keeping it functional. This is some work by Charlotte Mary Pack, and this is a part of her endangered species work. These are actually made with mason stains. So mason stains are a pigment that you can wedge into your clay. And so that's why they have that different kind of color finish to them. And these are really simple thrown objects where she sculpted these bats and put them on top of it. So it's just very simple, like create a vessel, add something on top. It creates something very a sculptural element to a functional form. Implementing motifs from your own background and culture to celebrate your identity is a really great way to go about this project. I love Jiha Moon. She's really inspirational to me. I love how she abstracts her common Korean motifs in her culture. She's Korean. She takes these abstractions and she adds them onto her thrown ceramic vessels. And this one's really finished and really symmetrical, but sometimes she'll throw vessels and cut them in half or smash them and then add them and construct them back together. So they're really great, like structurally. So this piece talks about like like ancient ceramic forms as far as like even like the feet go. And then I'm not really sure what this braid means, but I love Ji Ha-moon. I love the way that she incorporates other materials. Like these are little silver bells and this rope braid, which I'm sure have some other ultimate meaning to her identity and her culture that I don't know about. But I love the mystery and I love her abstraction, and I love color, I love her use of color as well. And another example of someone who works very much with their identity and their culture is Ndile Dielvane. No, I know I'm saying that the wrong way. Apologies. He is from South Africa, and this is a really simple cup that he did. I think that there's the use of glaze and carving on this that can take this work into a more sculptural element. And I think even it's really as simple as like to point out exactly first creating this cup and creating a sunken relief where there's some carving happening below the main flat surface. Even these like simple little mark makings can really add to the work becoming more sculptural besides its very its functionality and utilitarianism. It looks like just a cup, but all of these additions take it into a world or into like a horizon, a landscape where I'm trying to understand what I'm looking at. So obviously it's an abstraction of human faces. Oh, here's another one. I just pulled this off the internet. It's an ocarina, which is a musical instrument where the artist used the clay to create these little trumpets and this little face. So, I mean, some ocarinas are just really ovular shaped, really flat, and I wouldn't consider that to be sculptural. I just consider that to be fully functional. But this is a fusion of using your artistic abilities, your creativity, creating a narrative, creating a message, while creating a functional object. So some of you, I think, are watching HBO's Great Pottery Throwdown. This is from season 2. This is a Russian doll set from one of the women who was on the show. Her name was Clover. And they each had to make, this is a pottery competition show where they each had to make these Russian dolls or not Russian dolls, but essentially, ceramic work that could fit into each ceramic work that grows larger and larger. And so she was thinking about endangered species. And so she made these Russian doll pieces that fit really well into each. So that is another kind of, it's functional, and it's functional as far as play goes, as being playful. So functionality doesn't have to mean something that like completely serves, just only serves a purpose as far as like this thing pouring into this thing or this thing holding this thing, but like there is an element of play. And like, as I said earlier in this slideshow, you can even consider like making parts for a puppet. So just like get really creative with it. And then this is the last slide here. And I've created a discussion where I'm going to have you look at Ji Ha-moon and Ndile, the South African artist, that were both those artists were in the slideshow. And then you're also going to watch this Oliver Beers commission creating the Vessel Orchestra at the Met. I really love this video because it goes like in a different direction of where sculpture meets function. So he had the chance as a musician to go through the Met's archives, their art gallery, and find different ceramic objects that could create a perfect pitch and harmony. So I really love it. I love that the ceramic objects aren't made to be sculptural or just to be functional, but the ceramic objects, they're made and they each have their own art history, but he is going around and finding them and listening to them to figure out which ones, when put together and added and incorporated with all these mics and vibrations, how they can make music together, which I think is like even more like I don't know, maybe at like the pinnacle of innovation between functionality and sculpture, and also installation as well, because of the way the visual that the visual and the audio that this entire installation creates. So that is it. And I go ahead and read through the content, and I hope that this is fun for you, and feel free to ask me any questions about maybe something functional that you don't know how to approach, but hopefully I hope you have your sculptural ideas in mind. All right, take care.